Connected to the chat. All right. Hello again, everyone. Sorry about that. We are back again. Still 20 apiece, third and six. But the Lions convert for a first down. Good run by Tim Boyle converting. All right. 495 subs now. Cool. We got 8 on that raid from Micro Mike. That was cool. I like it. Right. Some of these Liverpool players, which I know Steve is going to love. Some of these are, well, most of these are really, really old, so you may probably not know them. This one, that is Stan Collymore. It's not
Okay,
the best caricature of him, if I'm honest, but he was
that's a
a
bummer.
great player for us in the late 90s. Good run by Godwin Igwebuike for 9, second and 1. Then we'll go to probably one of our most legendary strikers of all time, just the Welshman Ian Rush. Through the 80s and 90s, he was one of the top goal scorers we ever had. He went on to play for Inter Milan after he left us, so he's been about a bit.
Hmm.
Moving up in people that you might have heard of before, we now have Steve McManaman. So he was a right winger for Liverpool in the late 90s and early 2000s, left us for free to go and play for Real Madrid. Was a teammate of David Beckham out there and won a Champions League while he was there. Sacked by the Colts on 2nd and 1, pushes the Lions back now to 3rd and 9. Big loss, play action, but it was the right tackle being beaten around the outside and couldn't recover, which is a shame.
So is that
Audio sounds
Nelson?
bad, apparently, which is a shame.
That's just how he talks, guys. Come on.
Thanks.
Just
That's
kidding.
mean.
I know, I'm
That's
sorry.
really mean. Right, Lions on 3rd and 9 now. 9 minutes to play. On the Lions 43. Boyle in shotgun. Play clock was at 1, but managed to get the snap off. Pressure. Good throw. And a conversion to St. Gilstra. Good play. Right. Can you hear me in the Twitch chat? Please say yes. Anyone? Hello.
Ash is posting in the Discord. Says Twitch is gone. That was 2 minutes ago. And then he posted the link for the Twitch chat again. So hopefully it's back up.
Cool Down Rat and Big Aries say yes is fine. Derek says that you are fine. Ash says they can hear me. So Steve and Super Saiyan Lions are back in the YouTube chat. Hello, guys. Just going through my Liverpool players here, which I'm sure Steve is going to appreciate.
Is Steve Collins the Steve from your show?
Yes, yeah, he is.
Oh, that's great. Okay, now I've got a last name.
Yeah, he's a dude.
What happened to Tom, man?
Tom is in Canada right now.
Did he lose a bet?
I think he's having a holiday with his girlfriend and some friends. I'm not actually sure where they are in Canada, but there we go. Derek Dees needs to hang on to that throw over the middle.
Don't worry, he won't make the roster. I mean, I'm anticipating that there we will see at least one, if not two, tight end cuts this coming week again.
Yes, I agree.
So
I think that Dees will be another one to go for sure.
yeah, probably.
Derek Bobaric says, poutine. And
It's not good. I don't like it. I've been to
oh,
Canada several times.
clearly not cultured.
It's just like gravy. Like I don't understand what it's really adding to the dish.
Chips and
So
cheese. Oh, Nutrizone. They were starting to. The referee started to call a false start and then called offside. I like that. 3rd and 6
hey,
now.
Steve.
Derek says, awesome hangover food it is. And
Oh, cool.
that's very like Yoda, that awesome hangover food it is. I love it. Chips, cheese, and gravy. The gravy melts the cheese, and chips and gravy is just lovely anyway.
Okay.
So on the Colts 41 here, 3rd and 6, Boyle under pressure again. Nice throw on time to Trinity Benson on the crossing route, making a move and gaining about 20 yards, 17 yards to the Colts 24. Super Saiyan Lion says, what do you make of this game so far? What do you make of it, Drew?
That it's a preseason game. I mean, I have a different view on preseason games than I think a lot of people do. I think Matt's the person to answer this question. Me personally, the only thing I really truly care about is that we get out of this game without any injuries. Anything, I don't care if we win or lose. I mean, like, I understand that there's guys fighting for roster spots. I just don't want people to get hurt. That's the only thing I want. But what do you think about it so far? I think that they'll fight hard. They're fighting hard.
They're certainly fighting hard. Just so Brent has just asked if I'm doing this again next week. It's on at 9:30 in the evening here on a Sunday night. So I'm tempted to do it, but I'm also tempted to not because it's going
Yeah.
to finish at about midnight on a work night, which is going to be tricky. But we'll see. I may do this. I think I will do it just to carry it on. Preseason, I feel like it's really valuable. If you have a look at the injuries that we suffered last year, I mean, half the roster
Mhm.
was backups at some point when we were starting last year. So the way we shake out those backups is by having these preseason games and, working out who's going to be good. And last year, Sean Dion Hamilton, before he got injured, was repping, with the ones and looking up like the best linebacker on the team. And this preseason, he's not looking the best and rumored to be one of these cuts coming up. So it really is a kind of, survival of the fittest type of deal. And if we don't have this, then we're just kind of going on past reputations. And at the end of the day, the reps are important. Play action pass with a lot of pressure in the face of the quarterback, gets the pass out and complete to James Mitchell for no gain. Brent says, yes, staying healthy is number one. Mitchell is in, says cool down rat. Oh my god, yes, no injuries, please, says Derek. And Sion Lion says, I personally feel Jamar Jefferson is going to be cut or practice squad. I don't see it yet. I see it in the cut down to 53, maybe, but we shall see. Derek Bo Barrett coming in with the gifted tier 1 sub to James A. McClaw. Gifted 7 subs so far in the channel and also resubscribed with Prime. I can hear Brad Holmes in my head again, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for doing that, man. Appreciate you. 5 minutes to play now. Boyle with his latest throw dropped back and a good catch by James Mitchell again.
Oh, wow. He's actually playing.
Yeah, 9-yard gain down to the Indy 4.
Well, that'll be one less person people can complain about.
100%. 3rd and 1 from the Colts 4. Boyle under center.
I would roll out Boyle.
And running play up the middle. Contacted at the line, but just gets over. 1st down and goal from the 2.5. Justin Jackson converting, which is great. Steve Collins says Boyler's looking decent, and then prefaces that by saying famous last words. Brent says nice to see Mitchell.
Jinx.
Yeah, there we go. Final figurine I was going to show you is someone that I hope you've heard of. I don't know whether you've heard of any. In fact, no, sorry, I had 2 more to go. To go. This guy here, he was called God. He's called
Jesus
God.
Christ.
His name is Robbie Fowler.
I've heard of Fowler. Yeah, okay. Yes. That's a hell of a nickname to live up to, man.
It is. Oh boy, airball, that one. Someone was free.
Is that the Maurice Alexander throw?
Yeah, Maurice Alexander in the end zone was open.
Yeah, you gotta
hit those. Didn't need to put that velocity on that. A bit more touch would have been good. Final one then is the pundit currently for Sky Sports, but one of our best centre backs of all time. That's Jamie Carragher.
Okay, yeah, I heard of the previous guy, but I should pay more attention to European football. So it's one of the biggest sports on earth, right? I mean, like, seems pretty cool.
Igwabuke touchdown Lions! Let's go! Come on, 4 minutes to go.
That's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
European football is probably the biggest sport on earth by viewer numbers, I would say.
Yeah, I would bet on it if I had to put money on it.
I mean, so I think the Super Bowl gets in just over a billion viewers worldwide, but I would imagine that the World Cup, which is only every 4 years, probably doubles that. I would say. 2 billion people, I would say. Steve Collins said Carragher was a fullback. Carragher was a fullback in the early noughties. He was a right back and a left back when we had Huppiet and Onshow. But when Onshow moved on, Carragher became a centre back and was there for 7 years, 6 or 7 years. So there we go. James,
See,
sorry,
when I played soccer, I played midfield. So what is a center back? I don't remember that one.
Central defender, so the person
Okay.
behind you.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you spread them out across the field to denote that, and then you indicate that they're defense by. Okay, all right, makes sense. Gotcha.
James A. McClaw in the Twitch chat says, "Who's Paul McGrath?" Paul McGrath, I'm sure, is someone that Steve Collins is more qualified to talk about on this one because he is a former Manchester United and Aston Villa player. But Ashley Soden's coming in with the save. First winner of the PFA Premier League Player of the Year award. I guess that's the 92-93 season, despite having alcoholism and dodgy knees. Wow. Okay. Godly centre-back for Villa in the early 90s. He would know, he's the Villa guy. So there we go. He also says World Cup gets 2.5 billion viewers easily, which is nuts.
Seems like a big deal. And there are like 8 billion people on the planet. That's a pretty good percentage.
Very good percentage.
Over 25%.
Steve just said, Drew, you could probably have got into centre midfield for Liverpool in the 90s. We won the league in 1990, Steve. Watch your mouth.
My mother and sister took a trip to London some years ago, and they're like, "Do you want anything, like a souvenir?" And I said, "Yeah, I want a Manchester United," because I didn't know any other soccer clubs or European football clubs, and so I said, "Yeah, I'd like a Manchester United like jersey or T-shirt or something," thinking that like it would be like here where you could go into almost any store and get one, but like they said that they were in London or whatever, and they said that they went into like a couple of stores and they just did not have any Manchester United like paraphernalia, and I was shocked. So maybe they just went to the wrong stores, but like so my mom ordered me one like on the internet, and she's not good at it, still isn't. And so I showed up like for some family gathering, and she's like, Drew, I got you this Manchester United shirt, and it was like a boy's medium, and like I couldn't even get it over my head, and I was like, Mom, why did you think this would be a sufficient size for an adult man? It was crazy. She's good natured though.
So. Oh man, that's great. When did they come, and when did your mum order that for you?
It's got to be 8-10 years ago at this point.
I probably just went to the wrong store. So I mean, there's going to be less Manchester stuff in London than there will be in Manchester, but London has jerseys for everyone in the Premier League for sure.
I would have been shocked if they didn't.
Steve's just said, "Why would you know any other club but Manchester United?" And I mean, there's a really good answer to that, but you know, at the end of the day, Manchester United is hilarious because they're getting relegated this year. So there we go.
So that means you got probably a bunch of like European, British viewers right now on all your different social media, but like for me, that means that there are levels, leagues in European soccer, and when you get relegated, you are deemed not fit to be in a league and have to go play with the league at a lower level of competition.
Yeah.
And then how do you get back up?
So it depends in which league you're in European football. So if you're in the second tier in England, then you need to come in the top 2 teams the next season in the division lower down, or win the playoffs of the next best 4. If you're in Italy or Spain or what have you, they may have different rules. So in some only 1 go up, in some 4 will go up. It really depends where you are, but it's a very cutthroat thing.
Yeah. So you don't want to get relegated. It sounds like it's tough to get back in.
Horrible. So you have teams that were in the Premier League in like the early 90s when it started, who are now,
and that's the best. That's
tier.
The best league, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So some of them have been relegated several times. A team that got promoted this year back to the Premier League for the first time in a long time is Nottingham Forest, and they They won the European Cup in the mid-80s twice, but then they got relegated down to the third or fourth tier of English football.
Can you fall down more than one tier at one time?
Not at one time unless you have like financial irregularities or something like
Okay.
that. So you can get punished for doing things really badly wrong, but in terms of just on-field merit, you only go down one at a time.
Okay.
Cool Down Rat said Oldham are in non-league now. It's absolutely right. They're the first Premier League team ever to do that. Oldham were in the first Premier League in 1992-93, and they're now not even a professional club anymore.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's really rough. Steve Collins has come in saying, I'd love the Bears to be relegated this season. I mean, they really could be one of the worst teams of all time, potentially. And Super Saiyan Lion says, what I like about this game so far is that not a lot of penalties have been called. A very clean game so far. Ash,
Gee, that was savage, bro.
Yeah.
That was so bad.
Um,
They do look bad, though. I mean,
they've been awful. Colts driving now, 3 minutes to go. 2nd and 7 about to come up with 3 minutes left on the Colts 44-yard line.
oh, that was brutal. I'm gonna use that one when I talk to my friends later. Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Ash just
I mean, I know that the Bears beat the Seahawks in their preseason game, yesterday or earlier in the week, but like I watched some highlights and Justin Fields was running for his life on like handoffs. I mean, like it was ridiculous. So he is going to have, if anyone in the NFL has a more frustrating season than Justin Fields, I'd love to know who it is. Go ahead, dude. Something happened.
No, number 33 in coverage for the Lions, Juju Hughes, really going after a ball. And I mean, the way he went at it, if the Colts player had actually caught it, he would have been gone.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to take him out in the air and completely missed him. Sorry. That was crazy. Ash says 1979 to 1983, English teams consecutively won the European Cup, the best of which was 1982, and I wonder why, because his own Aston Villa won it then. Colts with a lovely throw and catch, a big hit, lowering the shoulder by Kirby Joseph, but can't jar it free, and the Colts now on the Lions side of the field trying to drive and keep the game alive with 2 minutes to go.
1982 had several other key events as well, notably my birth. So like, excellent stat.
Notable events in history. James McClure says, where's our 7th round safety / cornerback? Forget his name, number 35. Number 35 is Cedric Boswell, but as Ash rightly points out, you're thinking about Chase Lucas, who's number 36. I have not seen Chase Lucas on the field.
He might be. You said you haven't seen Lucas today?
I haven't seen Lucas today.
I haven't heard anything about him getting hurt. Maybe he's high enough up on the depth chart now where they were like, we don't need to play him. He's going to make it through this next round of cuts because
maybe. So on the box score, he hasn't made a tackle yet, and at nickel, you'd expect at least one.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, I've heard that he's fighting for the backup nickel spot behind Bobby Price, even beating out like Mike Hughes, who we signed to a 1-year deal this offseason. So, really making a push. I mean, for a 7th round cornerback to do that is really encouraging.
Ash says he has definitely been on the field. Must be in limited snaps then. 2-minute warning, 27-20, the Lions lead. The Colts on the Lions side of the field, about 35-yard line, looking at the wide angle shot here. Yeah, Bobby Price is a really weird one. So I think he's the backup outside cornerback rather than the nickel. I think it's Bobby on the outside along with who's the other backup? Oh, I need to bring up our depth chart because I can't think. Yeah, Will Harris, I guess. You've got Savion Smith. Savion Smith and Bobby Price are the two kind of backups that are kind of repping at 4 and 5. But then in the nickel, you've got AJ Parker and Chase Lucas. They're listing Mike Hughes ahead of Chase Lucas, but I just don't see it. I think he'll be gone. Brian Shook says, I think Thriller came out in 1982.
See? Just a great year. So like So in on my podcast, probably not too many of your viewers are going to be able to attend since it starts midnight your time on Tuesdays. But we one of my people in chat asked like what we would do with a secondary, and my question was blow it up, basically. Like Amani Araraway is probably a really high end CB2, but like I don't think that there's a CB1 on the roster. I know that Araraway is probably going to end up playing against ones like in the one spot this season, and then we're going to figure out. But to me, I have such a low opinion on Will Harris that the fact that Jeff Okuda has not just yanked this spot back for himself and is actually in a competition with Will Harris is one of the most disheartening things for me about the preseason thus far. So I like that these. I mean, like Jerry Jacobs is still not back from his ACL. Like he would be a great backup corner. He played well at times last year, you know. So I'm really curious to see how the CB room shakes out in this offseason.
Yeah, I agree with Armani and him being a high end CB2. The thing with Jeff is injured coming into training camp year one or
Hmm?
very early on in the year, should have got surgery, season ending surgery, didn't, played injured, then got injured for the season in game 5 or 6, having really never had a chance, and then out for a year and a half. I think
Yeah,
I think asking him to come back and take over CB1 straight away, especially when you know that a lot of his problems are mental rather than physical, I think that's asking a lot. I think if he retakes CB1 by third of the way through the season, week 6, week 7, that would be kind of where I would have my expectations for him. If he doesn't do that, I would be slightly disappointed. But he has to be fit. If he can stack games where he's healthy, fully healthy, in the regular season, I'll be happy with that.
yeah, yeah.
James McClaw thinks we're going to lose this game, thinks they're going to go for a 2-point conversion after they score the touchdown here, unless we get a takeaway, which is interesting.
Have they scored a touchdown yet?
Not yet. Just converted on third down, and it's 1st and 10 from the 24 now.
Uh, was this guy's name James? Like, calm down.
James.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, from what I can tell, the Colts are on the 26. Yeah, that's not the end zone yet. So, but maybe. I mean, if I was the Colts, I mean, and it's the preseason, and I scored a touchdown, yeah, I'd probably try and go for two. I don't want to play an overtime period in the preseason.
No, absolutely not. 1 minute left to
So,
play here now on the 26, as you say. 2nd and 12. Super Saiyan Lions says if Okuda doesn't have a big bounce back year this year, his career is done.
yeah, I don't agree with that.
That is not something I agree with. Career? Have you seen who our starting rush defensive end is?
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, Cohen firing for the end zone. Good catch and touchdown, Colts! Flag down, but what a throw by Cohen. And Nakua back shoulder catch for a touchdown. 38 seconds left, so chance for the Lions to go down the field here.
This does have this does have the feeling of exactly what should happen late in the game against the Lions defense. So, I mean, I've had some experience with this, having watched them play for the last my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So, ugh.
Cedric Boswell in coverage.
Yeah, they would probably. Yeah, it's going to decline.
How,
Nakua?
how was Cedric Boswell caught offside? Oh, defensive holding. Sorry, my bad. Right, are they going?
Yeah, if I saw if there was ever a cornerback lined up off sides, I'm going to be like, we're talking about this in film study.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this upcoming week, because that's ridiculous.
Right, 27-26, 38 seconds left. 38 seconds left after the clock is corrected. James is a visionary. That's all I'm going to say. Unless he'd seen advance notice of this already, he's an absolute visionary. 27-26, and the 2-point try, presumed 2-point try to come. And the offense does stay out on the field. Game on the line. Unless we really have a Tim Boyle show to come. Not asking for a laser show. Game on the line, 38 seconds to play. Clock
Are they
down
going
at
for two?
10. They're going for two. In
Makes
shotgun.
sense. Makes sense.
4 wide. 3-step drop. Pressure. Holding. Not called. Desperate throw into empty territory. No good on the 2-point try. And, I mean, would you try an onside kick here, or would you just...
Yeah, 100% I would. I mean, like, if this was a game that mattered, I mean, like, they're probably going to do it just for the, like, if this happens once during the regular season, we will have had some practice. But yeah, I mean, you have to get the ball back in order to have a chance to win. There are no 1-point plays
No.
outside of an extra point, I suppose. But like, yeah, I would absolutely kick an onside kick here.
Just want to take the time here while the game is just about to finish and presumed over now to thank everyone for listening along, staying with me after the technical issues I had right at the end there. If you are not subscribed, and I know about 40% of the viewers on YouTube are not subscribed, if you can subscribe, if you love what you've seen here, would really appreciate that. It really helps us out. And like the episode 2, do come and see us on Monday when we're going to be breaking down this game, talking about Hard Knocks episode 2, and looking forward to the final game of the preseason. Also looking ahead to who might get cut, or indeed who has been cut on that particular day. Do go and check out Drew's show, the Casual GM podcast. Have you got a specific episode in mind for Tuesday coming up?
This coming Tuesday, I think we will be addressing some news and notes from around the NFL to lead things off. We'll be watching the replay of you trying to kill that bug, and then we will probably launch into. We had a chat member ask what we keep saying the term roster construction, and we thought that kind of spoke for itself, but apparently there were some questions about it, so we decided to each take a stab at our version of explaining what roster construction means to us. So we'll be doing those side by side. So
sounds great. Cool Down Rat asks, do the starters play in the final preseason game? What do you reckon?
No.
No, I'm not playing him either. No chance. None of them.
Absolutely
not even
not.
Some of the defensive players who played today, I wouldn't play any.
No. You're going to cut down to 80 after this upcoming week, Monday, Tuesday. And then that's going to be the last opportunity to figure out who the next 27 cuts are. Right? So like, I am not risking any of my starters. I want to give the rest of the guys an opportunity to, shake it out and then get to the regular season healthy, because Philadelphia is going to be a pretty important game right off the bat. So
yeah, 100%. It's a must-win game. I mean, it seems pretty harsh on the Lions to call it a must-win game. They did try the onside kick. It is recovered by the Lions. That's the ball game, because I do not think that they have enough timeouts to stop the clock. No, they don't. 38 seconds left, 3 timeouts, and the fourth one would run the clock down to 00. So there we go. Treble zeros. Double zeros? I know what I meant.
Lots of zeros.
Super Saiyan Lions asks Drew, how has Hamilton looked so far? I'm sure that's a troll.
What's that?
How has Hamilton looked so far?
Oh, like a rookie, like I know that I gave some, I'm a Ravens fan in addition to being a Lions fan. And I've given people who were saying like we should take Hamilton at 2 a lot of crap since the draft, because we didn't take him twice when he was on the board. But I think that he'll be good eventually. Like, I just don't have the kind of expectations on rookies that they need to come in and immediately be great in the NFL. But I think that he'll get there. He's got all the tools necessary to be an excellent safety.
I think the thing with Hamilton is that I was so high on him in the draft process, and one of the reasons is that I thought his skills were immediately translatable to the NFL. I didn't think that he'd have a big learning curve in order to being a solid NFL player. I thought there'd be a learning curve to being a great NFL player, but I thought off the bat he would be good. And to be honest, the video highlights have not been doing him any favors, where they've cherry picked some really bad plays of his. And I think he's been good generally, but his reputation has certainly taken a hit.
So like his draft process didn't go well. Like he ran slower than expected, and I don't think that he did all the drills that he said he was going to do. I might be wrong about that one, but like he left things. He was People were so high on him coming out of Notre Dame that it was almost like he could not do wrong. And then he left the door open for just a hint of doubt when he could have shut that door forever. And so then there were some questions about some of like his straight line speed, but like I mean, the Ravens are not going to draft a guy that they're like, oh, he's unlikely to work out. Like they have a long storied history of drafting really well and intelligently. And if maybe he does have some like drawbacks to his game, they're going to put him in a position where those are limited. So I think that they'll highlight what he's really good at, and he's good at a lot of stuff. So
100%. Travis Jones is someone I know and absolutely loved.
Can you imagine? I don't think that Travis Jones was on the board at 97 when we took Kirby Joseph, but imagine if Travis Jones was on this team right now. Because he was a third round pick. It was an absolute steal. Like the Ravens stole players for 3 straight rounds. It was great. They had a great draft.
Him and Aleem McNeil in the center would be an interesting combination because both really great run defenders with pass rush upside. Like, would be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry? No, go ahead.
Oh, I just think that like with the way the NFL is trending and the fact that we haven't had great interior defensive line prospects for the last 2-3 seasons outside of a guy here and there in the NFL draft, like if you could have picked up somebody like Travis Jones and I know Anthony really liked Travis Jones when he was coming out, that I don't have a problem with scheme when it comes to putting like McNeil and Jones next to each other. Just go do that. Like have them create a bunch of havoc or like overpower people for 3 quarters, and then you can have Pascal and Hutch or whomever you want to put across from Hutch just live off of that. Like that would be great.
Well, in a 4-3 scheme, if you've got only 5 offensive linemen, no tight end, or a tight end who isn't really willing to chip players on the way through, you can only do 1 double team. If you've got Aleem McNeil and Travis Jones and Aiden Hutchinson and Charles Harris, who do you double? Like, that's a really horrible gauntlet to throw down to a team. I just don't think you have the same problem when you've got Michael Brockers in that lineup.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is so much about matchups now that like if you put a team in that position where it's like, where do we want to lose? Because we're going to lose somewhere. Like strategically, you're heading into the game with an advantage that you should be able to exploit, right? Like every defense, every offense is trying to figure out their version of that. So, and listen, I'm not out on Muzurike. Like, I think that he can be up to Travis Jones's level. It's just like you got to be healthy first, then you got to show that you're developing. He had a rookie season. Most people aren't very good as rookies. We haven't seen him play yet in his second season. Hopefully, at some point we do. And that would be great. But like, I'm not anywhere near thinking that this roster is complete.
No.
So I'm willing to give all these guys time.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Steve O says Jordan Davis would have been a nice pick for this team. I like JMO, but Davis would have made the LBs look a lot better. I was a lot lower on Jordan Davis than people were. I mean, it's something that's easily coachable, but if it was so easily coachable, why doesn't he fix it? His ability to get off the line on the snap is so much worse than other people around him, and it's so frustrating to see. But he's a half a second behind everyone else, and when the ball is out in 2 to 3 seconds, a half second makes a difference. It really does.
To me,
sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No. So, like, I'm sorry, just real quick, like, he beat out Aiden Hutchinson for the best defensive lineman in football last year, playing 155 snaps in the entire season. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I just can't get behind barely playing. I don't know. Like,
yeah. Brent has just said the Colts only had 30 yards rushing. Wow. And I actually haven't had a look at the overall stats of the game, but if that's true, that's absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look.
Yeah, it looks like
Buffalo beating Denver 42-15. Wow.
Yeah, okay. They rushed for 30 yards, and the Lions rushed for 174 yards.
Jackson, 7 carries for 54 yards. Reynolds, 7 for 37. Igwebuike, 7 for 32. Just Jomar Jefferson, 7 for 25. They really, you know, let them eat there, which is really cool. Any quick takeaways from preseason? Anything maybe schematically rather than for players that you're taking away from this? Because I know you're not a big preseason guy, but maybe we can read something from that.
So I actually wasn't watching, like you were watching like each of the plays happening, and I'm just like watching Gamecast, like them updating what's going on. Like, so I guess I don't have a very good answer to that question. To me, what we did in this game is not going to be indicative of what we're going to do in the regular season. I don't think, like I think that probably, I mean, like I would call the game differently for David Blau than I would for Jared Goff, just because they're different people, and like maybe they wanted to look at specific things in specific areas of the team. So they decided to, maybe they're going to go 60-40 run to pass or something like that. So to me, what we have seen in the preseason is not indicative of what the Lions are actually going to be like in the regular season. So I hesitate to comment.
Fair enough. I think that the really encouraging thing that I saw between what happened last week and what happened this week, because I think it speaks specifically to the level of coaching that these guys are getting, is that last week you saw the 4-man rush act independently of each other. So you had the edges both try and go outside, and then you had the D tackles not have one go inside, one go outside. You often had both going outside, which vacates a massive hole in the middle, which a quarterback was escaping through with regularity, and it was not adjusting. Whereas this week, you saw a lot more coordination in the rush, so they were rushing as a 4. You can't hear me at all. No? Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, man. Derek says he hears me.
Just one too many things going on right now with the computer, it looks like.
Okay.
Derek can hear you. Lucky Derek. Okay.
Right, guys, since my audio seems to be failing for my guest, I'm going to call it a night there, even though it was a really interesting conversation. I think that's probably been long enough. I'm sure my girlfriend would like some time with me, but thank you to Drew for coming on. It's been really cool to have
I'm just going based off of the gestures at this point. I can't hear a thing. So thank you so much for having me on.
It's been really cool to have some company, and thank you to everyone for joining us as well. It's really cool to have you on, and hopefully we'll see you on the podcast for Monday night. Steve's just asked if we can make it Sunday because of a very important football match that's happening. I'll let you know if the schedule changes, but thanks again to Drew. I'm Matthew Turner. We'll see you on the podcast later on this week.